Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the start of a brand new chapter in the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercar series. We are kicking off Season 5 in style from one of the most iconic circuits in the world, the mighty Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's fast, it's flowing, it's unforgiving, and really it's a perfect place to shake a bit of rust off and set the tone for a brand new championship campaign. My name is Jared Cole, and on behalf of everyone at Simple Racing Broadcasts, it's great to have you back with us here again tonight. we're back for a whole new season, and we'll talk a little bit about what's to come. Very special shout out tonight, of course, to my regular co-commentator, Mr. Josh Harris, who has decided that he'd rather be in Bali than here in the commentary booth with me, which kind of figures, doesn't it? But we are in very, very capable hands. Alongside me, Lucas Sott returns to the booth after his debut with the ASR Endurance Championship. Lucas, great to have you back, mate. How are you feeling about tonight?
Thank you for having me, and hello everybody. Excited for a new season, excited to see this shake out in round one at one of my personal favourite tracks of all time. And yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what these cars and drivers can do around here. We've got a new season, new drivers, new opportunities.
I can't wait, personally. There's so much to come. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the schedule for this season first of all. So Spa here in round one. What is really unusual is to see only one Australian track in the 10 rounds this time around, which is certainly very strange for the Gen 3 supercars. We're starting here at Spa. We've got Road Atlanta in week 2, then we go to Long Beach, on to Portland International Raceway, followed by Road America. We head on over to Germany. The Hockenheimring waits us there. Belgium, to be fair. We go to Jerez as well, and we don't actually come back to Australia until round 8, Lucas, where we'll be kicking into the Bend. We'll talk about that later on tonight, I'm sure. But then Misano and Okayama to finish off the season. It is an absolute international festival of racing, this one. And a couple other changes as well. Tonight we see the debut of open qualifying here with ASR, which I think just adds a whole other level to the racing. Don't you think, Lucas?
I think so. I'm a big fan of open qualifying. Wherever it can be used, it's a thumbs up for me. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers take advantage of it. Obviously, at a track like this as well, you can gain a lot of time. But yeah, more exciting than having being in your own instance essentially and just getting through it. So I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The race format tonight, of course, the open qualifying obviously a bit different, but a single race to kick us off for the season as well, which again, something a little bit different. We're used to seeing a race event usually, aside from endurance rounds, but we're getting straight into it. 28 laps of Spa. We're talking lap times of generally just shy of 2.5 minutes, so it is going to be a long single race for these drivers, and what a way to start the season. 2 compulsory pit stops to take, a 70% fuel capacity limit, so it will be interesting to see what kind of strategy to play out. A reminder, of course, that when it does come to our compulsory pit stops, what is required of the drivers is they do get the car up on the jack. So you can get away with just taking a litre of fuel if you need to and back out into it, but I suspect that they're going to need both of those stops, and there will be a couple of different strategies that play out. So we'll have a bit of fun trying to keep an eye on where everyone sits there. We are just a few minutes away from getting our qualifying session underway, and we're going to watch all of that here tonight. Lucas, let's talk about the Bend. Round 8, it's a long way away, the only Australian track this season. I've got to ask, have you spent much time out on the Bend yet? That's a starting point for me.
So I'm excited for the Bend. I haven't done an actual race in it. I have practiced the GT layout and international layout. The GT layout is going to take a bit more work to memorize completely, but the international layout is good. I've enjoyed that, and a little fact, it's only an hour and a half from where I live, and yeah, haven't actually been there. My partner's actually been there for some work right before it opened, which is really cool. But I do plan to go there because there's been a few events being organised in the near future. And then there's a little fun fact down the line. I'm hoping iRacing continue their development with the Adelaide scan, because that's right absolutely. Where I'm from. And yeah, I know it's biased, but even prior in the GP days, it's just one of my favourite tracks ever. So, but regardless, Adelaide and the Bend, yep, I'm excited. I think the Bend is good. I think it's just a bit tricky. Essentially, there's not many landmarks. Obviously, you're in the Australian flat plains, a couple hours out of a main city. So there's not much in terms to look at while you're racing to learn it, but it'll eventually get there if you want to put in the work.
Oh, absolutely will. It's a cracker of a track. Really, this whole season is just full of some great circuits. I think for me, what I'm looking forward to most is probably Long Beach, because it's really the closest to what supercars are made for, right? Street circuits are what it's all about. And yeah, like you, I can't wait for Adelaide to make its way into the iRacing calendar. That is going to be an absolutely stellar track. And it's a shame that we've got to wait. Look, let's be honest, we're probably going to be waiting another year or two, I reckon, before it actually does arrive here on iRacing. But hey,
they did mention it in their, not the most recent, I think the one before in the development blog. So at least they said that it is actively being worked on. So it's not kind of like, left on a Bunsen burner somewhere in the background. But no, it's being worked on. So fingers crossed within the next year we'll get it. We'll see.
We can only hope. We can only hope. A little bit of trivia here for Spa, of course. So first held a Grand Prix in 1925. So this track is definitely an old one. Our track length tonight, just a touch under 7 kilometres. The very first version of this track layout for that Grand Prix in 25 was 14 kilometres long. So we are talking, right up there with the likes of the Nürburgring in terms of length. I think, 7 kilometres, it's definitely a longer racetrack, and certainly one that the drivers will have enough fun with, I'm sure. We don't need it to be double the length per lap. One of the things that will be really interesting here tonight is seeing where on earth these drivers manage to make overtakes happen. This corner has quite a number of high-speed turns, which are notorious for absolutely chewing the tyres on the Gen 3 supercars. There are not a lot of braking overtake opportunities. We've got the back of the Kemmel Straight is probably one of the major opportunities. But outside of that, the chicane just before the start-finish line is probably going to be one of the ones that some of these drivers look to utilise as well. I'll tell you what, Lucas, it's going to be really, really tough for the drivers out there to get overtakes done, I think.
It will be, but I think a lot of them will find a way to make it work. Even La Source is a good spot. Obviously, the straight's not too long before then, but there's, it's a nice wide corner and people can get through there and make some moves, hopefully cleanly, but we shall see. But yeah, that kind of like middle sector of the track is very tricky. Lots of flowing corners. But yeah, I think those three are going to be the primary locations for overtaking opportunities, especially the first two that you mentioned.
100%, and don't forget just the drama that can come at high speed in supercars. We know these guys race hard, they race door to door. A little bit of rubbing of panels is not unusual, so certainly coming through Blanchemont, I expect that we will see at least one replay-worthy event through there, but you never know. You never know. It's all in the hands of the drivers at the end of the day, who are just about a minute away from our qualifying getting started. Lucas, you're obviously reasonably new to the roster here with Alliance Sim Racing, but of course a couple of names that are probably all too familiar to you after the Sandown 500 round of the Endurance Championship. It feels like a month ago, but I think it was only 2 weeks ago. I'm not even sure anymore. Time is absolutely flying this year.
Yep.
We've got a couple of standout names already starting to emerge in practice. The likes of Scott Gamble, Dean Logsdale is quick here again. Wayne Walker, of course, last season's champion, is right back in it. But a couple of new names as well that we aren't so familiar with. Scott Mackay, we saw a bit of in endurance racing. Rain Campbell, I have not seen a lot of myself. Look, based on your limited exposure to this crowd, anyone that you're keeping an eye on in particular this evening?
Yeah, a bit hard for me to tell, to be completely honest. But once I brought up the timing screens, I did notice Scott Gamble straight away when we were talking just earlier. But no, for me, I'm kind of like a very green chicken coming in here and getting to know the drivers and the teams, and being at a round one of a new season is always helpful as well. I'm just looking out for a fun, entertaining race for now, and we'll just see what stories unfold. But yeah, I'm very appreciative of that, given the opportunity to step in and fill in some big boots in the commentary booth. And yeah,
well,
awesome.
Look, let's not talk Josh Harris up too much either. Let's give him his due. He's well known to the crew here at ASR, but he has chosen to be in Bali rather than watching some racing, and I don't know how well that did with me. I hope you're enjoying it, Josh. I don't know if you're parked yourself somewhere in front of a screen over there and catching all of this, or what the case may be, but You're absolutely right. Let's get out on track and check out some of the qualifying action as it starts to get underway. The very first time that I can recall that we have actually had open qualifying here with ASR. So without further ado, we will jump down to the track and we might try and get ourselves up and running with last season's winner. But let's go and check out Wayne Walker as he makes his way on the outlap as we start to get ourselves into qualifying. Of course, it's a long outlap for these drivers, so it'll be interesting to see just how this turns out, I suppose, from a better way of putting it. We don't really know what to expect in terms of open qualifying either. 20 minutes. Look, it's not a lot of time, is it, Lucas, when you consider that it's a 2-minute 25 lap is often the...
Often around there a little bit less ending, but yeah, I think the other thing as well is the weather is quite good. Track temp is good, as well as the regular temperature outside, so I think the track should be fairly grippy for these guys, especially now during qualifying. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see who ends up taking advantage of this open qualifying. I have seen some recent stuff on YouTube with Jardier doing the Clio Cup around here, and their qualifying sessions are absolutely ludicrous. I don't know if you've seen anything like that or checked any of it out, but it is insane. It's like an actual race. But yeah, regardless, I'm a big fan of open qualifying, and we'll see who takes advantage of it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. A few groups of cars already sort of starting to form as we take a bit of a look around here. James Hardy, iRacing, was setting some good times in practice, so he'll be looking to get that underway as well. I am just going to try and find a ladder. The Fishy Motorsports livery always looks good, no matter which colour scheme it's in, no matter whose car it's on. But I do want to just try and find, there he is, Chris Miller. Congratulations, my friend. I have yet to see your Fishy livery on track here, so welcome to the season. That is easily the brightest Fishy Motorsports livery that I have ever seen.
The Fishy Motorsports, were they, just correct me if I'm wrong, were they the Castrol team in Sandown?
Correct, correct, yeah.
Okay.
David Coleman was in the Castrol-styled Fishy Motorsports livery. And I'm looking down the list of, what have we got here tonight? Something like 35 drivers on track, if I'm not mistaken. So if David Coleman's hiding in there somewhere, it's entirely possible, but I just can't find him. I know he signed up for this season, but just may not make it here for race number one. We'll have to wait and see. Scott Campbell, meanwhile, is out in front and setting the pace at the moment. But you can see Ken Latta just stealing that second sector fastest time for the moment. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. Interesting to note that Scott Campbell didn't have a full season in season 4, was unable to make a few of the events, and so I don't think we've got a really true picture of where he could have ended up in the standings after the full season, because he did miss quite a number of them. Ken Latta, though, again, we didn't see a huge amount of him last season. In fact, I'm not sure that we saw much at all, but already showing that he's got some pace out there. We've seen him steal a few purple sectors, although further back in the field, more of those are disappearing. We'll just have to try and predict, I suppose, what we're going to see in terms of the grid. Jamie Dyke, I'm expecting, will be fast again this season. Again, we'll take the first purple sector there. Again, a bit of an outlap kind of pace, but so Scott Mackay, 2:23. Matty Vanderkraan back in fine form after missing the final round. Yeah, after missing the final round of last season with illness, he's gone out there and set a cracking first lap pace and straight back into the pits to just see how it plays out, I suppose. Scott Mackay is out there. Wayne Walker's on an absolute flyer at the moment. take a look at the two purple sectors as he comes across the line. Is that going to be enough? It is enough to get him into the top 5, but Vanderkran's still out in front, so whether he is out to, I don't know, maybe just redeem himself a little for missing the championship with that last round, I don't know. I think Vanderkran's certainly putting up a very, very strong start to this first race. We're 6 minutes into our 20-minute open qualifying session. Ken Ladder out to try and improve his time from third place. It's going to be a really, really strong front end of the grid here. And I don't know about you, Lucas, but the idea of these guys powering into a source is a little terrifying, I'll be honest. I suspect we're going to see a lap 1, turn 1 incident here on cold tyres.
I think, there's a high probability of that. But we'll see. I like to be surprised. I also see Gamble, Ladder and Mackay all have stayed out for a second flying lap as we have someone off in the gravel.
The Quantum Racing Team entries there. Just keep an eye on Rain Campbell here. He's, look, I'll be honest, a little unknown to me. I'm sure I've seen the name floating around in a few different V8 leagues over the last couple of years, but I can't quite put a finger on it. But from One Performance Racing, his time putting him in 4th place at the moment, I suspect that that is a pretty strong indication of what we can expect from Rain over the season with Alliance Sim Racing.
Also to note, everyone that has stayed out has not improved so far. Everyone's on yellow sectors. So it's interesting, isn't it? Current benchmark still. So we'll see. We'll see if that's the play to.
We're not going to have a lot of time to get this done either. When you consider that an outlap is going to be 2.5 minutes, and then a flying lap's 2.5 minutes. So you're talking, if you don't stay out, if you do just go up for 1 lap push then reset, you're talking about at most, absolute most, you're going to get 4 flying laps in here, which is
it looks like
a pretty big ask.
It is. And it looks like they've abandoned their laps and have gone back up fresh now, so that seems to be the play.
Very big moment there for Hardy. That's a shame because he was on a very quick lap.
Yeah.
Just a bit of contact, and hey, that's open qualifying, isn't it?
It is. That's what you get. And you don't have the track all to yourself.
Yeah. Yep. A very interesting one. Damon Fisher back again for another season with Team AJR. I'm hoping we get a little bit of support for Team AJR in the chat. We usually do. But interesting to see what he's got up his sleeve. And a couple of other quick drivers in Team AJR, of course. Dean Logsdale certainly found his feet towards the end of last season. He is back in a striking green and black livery. Pretty easy to spot out there this season. Oh, a bit of contact there, just not expected. Oh, that's a big moment. Big moment for Dean Logsdale, so he'll have to reset that one. Not what he would have hoped for, I'm sure, on that qualifying run.
One advantage of sim racing, isn't it? Well, despawn and go back to the pits and go again.
We've said it a few times, across the time that we've covered these guys. It is certainly a lot safer for our drivers, even those who have got themselves motion rigged. It is a lot safer in a motion rig with a 20-something Newton meter sim wheel than it is behind the wheel of an actual car when you come together like that. And certainly a lot friendlier on a budget, despite what my wife would do. Get that out there and looking to just get those tyres up to temperature before he has another crack at improving his position. Scott Gamble's fallen down to 7th, and he's going out for another shot at improving that time. Vanderkran, though, he's looking strong so far. It's only a 10th difference between himself and the prime ladder, but he's not hanging around. The Angry Birds driver, supported by West Automotive, he is very, very keen to get back into the season. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can deliver over the full race distance. We know he's got a few tricks up his sleeve when it comes to just the pit strategies, particularly. So I'm going to be really interested to see what happens here. given that he'll have clean air out front, I don't think we'll see a Van der Kran special of a lap 1 compulsory pit stop. But it will all depend on how the source treats everybody and whether we actually do have a clean start to this race. Big hello to everyone in the chat. I hope you're enjoying the coverage so far. It's a long season here with Alliance Sim Racing. Sean Vandermeulen is back in the hot seat. He's just set his first time. Welcome back, Sean. I know you had to miss quite a lot of last season, but good to see him back in amongst it as the game goes. He's out lap getting the start of his match.
Pretty crazy. The top 9 positions are separated by, or what was 4 tenths, now 6 tenths.
Yeah, there's not a lot in it. There never is with this crew.
Walker top, 3-3 now, just over the line.
Absolutely smashes through. So Walker,
A lot of improved times coming from everyone as well with these second round or third round laps.
makes you wonder just how much the additional rubber getting laid down helps to just improve these times across the course of 20 minutes of open qualifying. It does. I know iRacing does account for extra rubber being laid onto the track. I always wonder just how much a big slide from Van der Kran there as he puts the foot down and gets that Mustang hustling along. I do wonder just how much difference that makes in an open qualifying session versus a lone qualifying session. I have absolutely no data to back up either statement. But when you see the improvement that starts to happen as you get to even just 10 minutes into a session here, you do wonder sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely would be some kind of improvement. I also don't have any data, but it's definitely within the sim, and you got 30 plus cars going around constantly in a very short time. It'll make a little difference, I think, within 20 minutes.
Rick Bogart crosses the line, still in 24th at the moment. Obviously had a bit of a moment with the fellow league admin in Troy Sippel, who we'll see further back, circulating slowly with Dylan Sippel there. Troy and Rick coming together in that Sandown 500 Enduro. No malice in it, just the way that it goes around Sandown, really. Troy putting a foot down and getting a bit of a wiggle on and into the side of Rick's car. I know they had a good old chat about that afterwards, but I also spoke to Troy after the race, and no harm, no foul, as is the way when you're racing hard with people you race against week in, week out. It tends to be perhaps a little less heated than it otherwise would be, even if the racing is perhaps a little harder.
Yeah.
Michael Stewart from the Balance Stewart Foundation just looking pushing hard with this one. Michael Whiting's coming to the line. Simon Farrington is very, very good. He was into the last sector. That Mustang, Supercar racing entry. Oh, it's the AU Falcon livery. Ben's one we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, this is going to be a good lap.
He's been pushing hard. That's what he can do. He'll improve from 27. And a slow first time there. Still in 126. Improved by 1 position. 225. It's so easy to forget how competitive this field is. We've got just over 3 seconds across the top 30 drivers out of 38 drivers in the field. The one I'll point out, Mark Poynter, probably Goose Racing, we haven't actually seen him set a time yet. He's done a couple of laps, but hasn't actually managed to set a time. We know Poynter is reasonably quick, so I suspect he will jump up through his end if he sets his first. Rain Campbell has just improved their position to 4th. So
Longtail was just there as well, just been put down to 5th, but he's gone up the times as well.
On the move.
Yep, and
so we see what he can deliver. Now it looks like just about to finish first time lap. Let's see. what we can do is run at 2:23.3 with the incident so far. Costs us a line. Comes across an 11th. So definitely the sort of pace we're expecting from Pointy. Just over 4 minutes to go here. I reckon these drivers have got time for one, maybe two more laps if they're lucky. The big one for me at the moment, Nicol Schroeder and Damon Fisher, both yet to set times at this stage. So Schroeder is on his way around. Of course, Sickle has just set time. Will McKee jumps up into 17th as well. Let's see what Schroeder can do. Not on his best sectors so far, but a finished qualifying lap always a little more useful than an incomplete. Let's see what he's got up his sleeve here. 2:23.315 at the time to beat Wayne Walker. Doesn't look like he'll be challenging that, but then he put himself up there. It's a very, very short run to a control line out of that final corner. 2:26.9, so he comes in at 30 seconds, so he won't be starting at the back of the grid. But just starting to find his feet there is Schroeder. Jump up front, Scott Mackay, Evolution Racing Team entry. Tell you what, he's definitely showing us the same kind of pace that we saw in the endurance round. 3 minutes to go here. He's on a flying lap, so this is going to be his last shot to improve position. We've got a lot of people on the outlap. You can see 4th through 12th really all on the outlap. I don't know if they're all going to have time to finish it. It will depend very much on whether or not iRacing decides that you are allowed to complete your current hot lap. Now, I can never remember, and Lucas, maybe you can help me out here, maybe you can't. Big slide in the background from, I think that was his teammate, Scott Campbell, no? Sorry, that was the other Evolution Racing Team entry. Daniel getting very, very sideways. On a flying lap as well. I can't actually recall the iRacing setup as to how it decides whether or not it allows the completion of hot laps in qualifying. I think from memory it's something to do with whether it's a race or a heat setup, isn't it?
Yeah, so if it's, I mean, the regular official series that I run in, once the timer is finished, the session finishes. So I don't think you have time to finish the lap because it just respawns you. Could be wrong, but at least that's how I remember it when I was last racing regularly. So you do have to try and get your lap in before the 20 minutes is up. Unless this is set up differently that I'm not aware of. By the way, Miller's on a big improvement lap in the bottom, and also Mackay's on an overall improvement as well. But yeah, that's to my knowledge how I've seen it in the official races anyway.
Yeah, this is the thing I'm going to have to wrap my head around here. And maybe if there's anyone in the chat that can confirm for me. I know there is a circumstance where it'll let you finish if you are on a hot lap. I just cannot remember for life what that circumstance is. Chris Miller looking to improve 15th. A better lap. Is it going to be enough to bump him up the field? It is up to 10th. At 2:24, almost flat. So Miller finishing wrong there.
Nice last lap.
Completely. Damon Fisher's on a bit of a run down as well. Let's see if we can just track that down. Just setting the time. First one said 2:25.7, jumps into 18th. So at the death, manages to get himself a little further up the field. Ken Ladder is out now on a flying lap. The question will be, does he get to complete it, or does he get cut off in about 30 seconds time? Oh, it's going to be tight. Dean Logsdale or Michael Whiting improved as well for 11th. Logsdale's coming into the final section of this Spa layout. Whether he's going to have enough time to get across the line, or whether he'll allow it, is the question.
Let's see.
Not such an improved right now.
Yeah, he did put in a good lap on his previous hot lap. That put him up to 4th at the time.
And look, you can't argue with 5th. In a field as strong as this one,
Not at all.
really, that's where you end up. But there's the checkered flag for qualifying. It's going to count it.
It did, yep.
Yeah, and it does look like. Okay, so I could be on the money. I think it might be that if you are out on a hot lap at the end of the qualifying time for a race session only, then it'll actually let you complete it. Scott Gamble comes across the line and jumps back up to 2nd at the death.
And off the pole. Nice last lap from the gamble.
The Vigard's coming across now, looking to improve from 12. Definitely on a faster lap than he was previously. He's going to jump a couple of spots here. Time comes through. Stays in 12th with that one. Mark Stewart comes to the line now. Not on track for a particularly fast one. Ken Ladder though. 3 green sectors so far. What's he got up the sleeve? Keep a very close eye on this one.
The next 2 positions are separated by under 1 tenth. So any improvement here could see him jump 2-3 positions potentially, at least.
Yeah, and there's nothing that anyone can do to respond to it.
Nice final chicane as well, kept it steady.
Very, very tidy. Didn't lose any traction on the way out. Comes across the line. Jumps to the front row. Huge finish there.
Nice
Nick Wesley comes to the line as well. Nick is one of the drivers that's got himself the camera set up, so good to see him cranking that wheel over as he makes his way through the chicane. Peter Sattler, big moment over the curbs there. Crosses the line, maintains 32nd position off the line here. Mark Point is on a flyer as well. What can he do? Currently sitting 13th.
Curb.
Yeah, it gets every time, doesn't it? These things like light up. Point and gets just a little bit of traction loss there. Goes up 1 position, puts himself up into 12th. Jamie Dyke about to cross the line as well. He's looking to improve this time. Tony Parrington just before had no improvement. What's got up the sleeve? Goes from 23rd to 22nd, so a small improvement in that one. As Vigar comes across the line behind him.
Well, we did see some incidents in the open qualifying, just to shake things up a little bit, didn't we?
We absolutely did. And look, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that as far as an open qualifying session goes. Just checking that all of the drivers have finished now, so we should have the grid in just a moment. And we'll be getting ready to get underway with 28 laps here at Spa. Just waiting on iRacing doing its thing in the background.
I do like the open qualifying. I think it's better for the viewers. I think the drivers too would enjoy it better in general. But yeah, definitely makes for a bit of viewers.
We'll ask them after the race whether they enjoyed it more, I suppose.
Yep.
But yeah, I tend to agree. It's certainly better viewing for us because you do get a real sense of what the drivers can be. It does open up a bit of an opportunity to have a chat to race control if there are any issues there. Hey, Sandman, good to see you, mate. Glad to have you in the chat with us. I hope you're doing well. It has been far too long since you and I first did the Pink Fins charity event, mate. So good to have you floating around here. Hopefully I can live up to your standard. See how we go.
G'day, Sandman.
Pressure's on now. Sandman, of course, a voice that many V8 fans will recognise from a number of the official coverage sessions that are out there. I know he's doing the Logitech Pro V8s season at the moment. So look, a bit of broadcast royalty even out there in the chat.
Awesome.
I'm freaking out a little bit now, Lucas, just say. We've got a quick little warm-up session here for the drivers, 5 minutes or so. So while we are waiting for that, we might just go to a quick word from our main sponsors. Welcome back, race fans. We are just enjoying the last few minutes here of the warm-up session before we get racing here at Spa for round one of the Alliance Sim Racing and V8 Supercars series. It's got 10 weeks of incredible racing ahead of us, and I'm always a little nervous for the drivers when it comes to round one, Lucas. It's hard to know just what to expect. So many of these drivers very, very familiar with racing each other after the first season. We see Alistair Bales getting just a tad sideways on the way
Huge slide
through that complex there. Alistair Bales, the reason I've come back to having a look at him is he's one of the drivers here who I am vastly unfamiliar with behind the wheel of a V8, so it'll be interesting to see what he delivers for us tonight. One of the others, Ryan Campbell, one to watch, I think, based on the qualifying performance. Lucas,
Yep.
thoughts on that qualifying session? Anyone that you weren't expecting to sit where they were at the end of that session?
Not really, to be honest. I'm just familiarizing myself with everyone. Like we mentioned a little bit earlier at the start of the cast, there's a few names that I do recognize from the Sandown event a couple of weeks back, like Vanderkran and Gamble up there. No, I don't know, I'm just looking forward to the race. I think it's going to be good, season opener. Like you just alluded to, you got a mix of drivers, some that are experienced with racing each other. You've got some new guys coming in just to mix it all up. And being a 28-lap race and 2 pit stops is going to add some variables to the race without making it too overly variably, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's a nice balance. It's a good format, and I think it'd be good, nice. And the times are, most of the way through the field are so tight as well. So racecraft is going to be huge, as it always is with V8 Supercars. And on a track like this, which is one of my favorites, like I said earlier, I can't wait to see what happens.
It's gonna be tight racing for sure, and I think particularly with some of the high speed and particularly the downhill sections, you can see in the background Damon Fisher just running through exactly one of those now. It is, I think there's a really high risk of a pretty massive incident here tonight. As Craig Rose just on the Kemmel Straight practicing his launches, and that's going to be key tonight. Getting that run into the source for the first time could be the difference between a strong result, a strong first lap, and getting caught up in absolute carnage. You can see Rose just doing everything he can to keep the rear end of that car under control. They are such a tough car to get off the line, and it's one of the few cars where you'd almost be begging for a rolling start. But of course, that'd be no fun. That's not what we're here for. We are absolutely here to watch the Gen 3 supercars do what they were made to do, and that is to go around a racetrack incredibly fast on an absolute knife edge.
Absolutely. Yeah, La Source is a big wide corner, so if there's going to be no incident, I'll be really, really surprised that
You and I both,
here. We've got the grid.
You and I both. Let's run through the grid. The front row, Wayne Walker, last season's champion, takes pole position here for round one. Alongside him, Ken Latta from Fishy Motorsports. Row 2, Scott Gamble and Scott Mackay, the teammates from the endurance round, are on row 2 with each other. Matt Vanderkran and Rain Campbell behind them. Then Dean Logsdale and Michael Stewart ahead of Sean Vandermeulen and Chris Miller. Michael Whiting and Mark Poynton just missing out on the top 10 tonight. Chad Bugger and Mick Clifton behind them. Then Allman and Rushworth ahead of Lorne McKee and James Hardy. Damon Fisher and Stephen Varga rounding out your top 20 with Dylan Sippel and Jamie Dyke behind them. Daniel Hall and Jamie McKnight, 23rd and 24th respectively, ahead of Peter Sattler and Alistair Bales. Then Troy Sippel and Phil Manuel ahead of Simon Farrington and Rick Vigar. Brad Grant and Nick Heusler, row number 16. Then Todd Martin and Michael Schroeder ahead of Craig Rose and Andrew Johnston. The last drivers on the grid, David Logsdale and Ashley Hall. Your safety car drivers tonight, Tim Nicol and Tim Lawson, hopefully not being called on right into turn 1, but it's look, anything can happen. It's La Source, it's Spa, it's V8 Supercars, it's cold tyres, it's hot heads. I reckon we are in for an absolute cracker of a start here tonight, Lucas.
And then straight after La Source, you got the big downhill going up into Eau Rouge as well. And like, who's going to give?
Radion's going to be a mess. I'm calling it now. There's going to be an absolutely massive crash into Radion on lap 1. that is my prediction for tonight, folks. Let me know what yours is in the chat as well. Because
Yeah, you can have like these heavy cars, cold tires, standing start. Yeah, it's going to be.
it's going to be something.
It's going to be
good.
It's going to be good.
28 laps of the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps lies ahead. We're waiting on the drivers gridding up now. Just a short time left to go. It's a huge starting field.
Yeah, it's massive. Look at that. What a shot.
You love to see it, right? Spa is not what you'd think of as a traditional V8 supercars track, but this is one of the beautiful things about iRacing is you get to throw these cars around tracks where we'd never see them otherwise. And I reckon you take V8 supercars to Spa, and I think you'd earn a lot of fans from the European nations just by doing that.
100%.
If only it was so easy in real life, Lucas.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see what we've got ahead of us. Just under 30 seconds now before gridding is called. We've got just a couple of drivers left to go. Just Jamie Dyke left to get onto the grid there back in 20 seconds. Let's go down to the track. We'll wait for word from the stewards. But I think we are just about ready to get going. This is race number 1, season 5, the Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercars, 28 laps. It's all about turn 1 here. La Source beckons as Wayne Walker eyes the open straight in front of him. The lights are up, green flag waved at the back of the grid. We are getting ready to go racing. Walker and Ladder, who's going to get the jump? We are away. Season 5 gets started. Walker, a phenomenal start off the line. So far, so good as we make our way to La Source. Look at that field spreading out down the main straight of Spa-Francorchamps. Into turn 1 we go. Can we survive it? That will be the question. We are 3, 4, 5 wide all the way through. Somehow, there's carnage. There's the crash we were hoping wouldn't happen. James Hardy gets caught up. We've got drivers absolutely everywhere. This is chaos. I was expecting you might have it in La Source, but it turns out just out the other side. Rain Campbell's been caught up with it, as has Sean Van der Meulen, Nick Häusler. Cars everywhere as we make our way up through Eau Rouge. Somehow we haven't had a repeat as we get into the shaded cooler track there. And Wayne Walker out in front hasn't managed to avoid all of that chaos.
Van der Klaan got a really good start on the inside of La Source and gained a couple of positions before exiting the turn, before the carnage.
We've got a car in the background.
I'm just trying engine.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pick who that might be. It looks like
Michael Stewart, I think.
It might be the AJR entry of Dean Logsdale. It is. So Dean Logsdale did so well in qualifying, and that motor is on its last legs. He's got a long way to go to get back to the pits. We've got another incident. That's Troy Sippel getting caught up in that by the look of things. What a starting lap. It's what I expected, and yet somehow I'm shocked by it. Meanwhile, out in front, Wayne Walker, Ken Ladder, followed by Van der Klaan and Scott Gamble. These four are going to start to run away with it right from lap 1. The only question now will be, are we going to see a safety car? And there it is.
There it is, yep. I'll be shocked if there wasn't.
What an opening half lap.
To be honest, after the first half of the first corner, I thought, they're actually going to... And then it all unfolded a few seconds later.
And then that. Yeah, look, I'm not surprised. It is... Wow. What an opening for Season 5, eh? We've got so much to take a look at. Let's go back and see if we can actually pick up on where it all started.
There's a lot of drivers that have gained a lot of positions on our timing screen. My goodness.
Yeah, it's huge amounts of gains that have been made and huge losses as well. Dean Logsdale
making pit stops as well. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're spot on. And look, under a safety car, you absolutely have to. You can see there, it just stranded. That is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's Scott Mackay just sitting there waiting for the tow. That's a devastating start for so many of these drivers. Plenty of pit stops happening, and you absolutely want them to happen under safety car because it is such a long pit lane here that it's the only way to get it done in any reasonable sort of a time. The 24/7 Sim Services Mustang GT3 in resplendent yellow being called on within the first couple minutes of this season. Let's go back and take a look at just how this all unfolded.
Yeah,
and
let's
it
see.
looks as though Brad Grant was one of the first, as he's come off the line, up the inside, a lot of grass on those tyres, and just hit a contact there, manages to survive it, but gets caught up in it pretty heavily there. James Hardy was the next on our screen. You can see just caught in the middle of all of it.
Pretty wide.
And I don't know that he had much of an option there, but certainly not where the primary issues were. The others that we saw, Scott Mackay was probably the biggest, and you saw him get around the outside here, but just a tap on that rear quarter, veers into the wall, and that just creates so much chaos.
What a shame.
And nowhere to go at that point, even if he could get that car moving again. Oh, and a big moment there was that Rain Campbell getting tagged by another car coming through. I think it might have been. Here you go, Rain Campbell goes into the wall. Somehow, Mark Poynton avoids him. And then just these cars diving out of the way, the corner entry, that looks like that was Craig Rose, has just trimmed the front corner of Rain Campbell as well.
Wow.
Just chaos. And then...
no tie barriers here. Straight into the concrete wall.
Absolutely. Further in, we've got Craig Rose, who just gets a little side. No, okay, so he's just come into the pits, that's picked it up. This is one of the challenges with this pit entry, because it is so slow. It does tend to look as though cars have been caught up in an incident. Perhaps they haven't. You can see it already there. Look at the damage that Michael Stewart is dragging into pit lane. He's slowing down the three cars behind him because he can't get that corner done.
Front right is dragging off the tarmac. Yeah.
What an
looks
opening
like
salvo.
Runners, Ladder and Gamble did stay out of the guys that were in the leading pack. The other...
yeah, it's an interesting one. And this is where that difference in strategy is going to come in. We have a huge number of drivers that haven't taken that opportunity for a pit stop. You've got Ken Ladder out in front who hasn't bothered, Scott Gamble as well. You have to go right down to ninth place, where Wayne Walker is the first of the drivers who has made that compulsory pit stop.
Yep.
And of course, he's got a second one to do yet. But it will be interesting to see whether that does actually play a part later on in tonight's racing. I mean, it's such a long way to go yet that it's hard to think that we're going to see a winner decided based on who takes a pit stop under this safety car. But stranger things have happened.
Yeah, it is a long race. We'll see what happens. And also just want to shout out to Andrew Johnstone, who's gained 26 positions out of this, which is incredible. So there's a few guys in the low 20s, but he has gained the most, it looks like, in this race at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do to capitalise in Team AJR. So yeah, that's cool.
I've got to think that a lot of that's going to just pan out over the coming laps, right? It's not going to be something that sticks that way right through. It's the nature of incidents like that. Confirmation the safety car is coming in this lap, so we're about to go green flag racing. This is the rolling start that I think a lot of these drivers probably wish might have happened here, but Ken Ladder has control of the field as we come into the chicane. Let's see what kind of a jump he can get on Gamble. As they get to the green flag, we are racing once again. The flag waves and Ken Ladder leads us down to the source for the second time at full race pace. Let's see if this is perhaps a little tidier than the first time around. Have a look at how spread out the field is now. You see cars coming in for the pit stops in the background. That's right at the back of the field. Sorry, no, Jane McKnight coming in. Ron McKee's come in as well. So yeah, certainly a bit of movement, but out in front, Ladder and Gamble making the most of nice clean air, and we're going to see this all spread out. It's you've got to love the view here. Oh no, we've got an incident immediately. That's Andrew Johnston.
No.
Andrew Johnston into the wall at Radion.
Oh no.
What a shocker for him. I have no idea what set that off. He's back on track. You can see he's crawling. Here comes Mark Johnson flying through. Let's go back and see if we can see just what's happened to poor old Andrew Johnston.
That's a shame. I feel bad for calling him out for gaining all those positions now. Let's see.
Commentator's curse striked.
Yeah. Oh, did he get tapped?
Gets a big nudge
Oh.
there into the wall hard.
Oh, that's a shame.
That car is not going to
That
make
is a
it
big
back
one.
through the pits under its own steam. Does that mean that we're going to see another safety car? And there it is.
There we go. Information.
We have a safety car.
Yeah, that's a big accident.
Yeah, that's
Very unfortunate.
That was a huge moment. Johnston just getting absolutely railroaded into the barriers there.
And this is also a side effect of the fuel jumbling up as well from the pit stops and those choosing to stay out.
Well,
and
100%.
fixing up the qualifying order in under a lap, you know. So yeah, we'll see.
It might have been Michael Schroeder accelerated them into the back on Andrew Johnston. So taking a look at it. My apologies, Mr. Schroeder. I'm not actually sure who that was, but did go into the back of Johnston. But now here come. This is interesting. All of those drivers that didn't take that first pit stop under safety car have jumped in. So you've got Ken Lattering, Whiting's in, Miller, Allman, Alistair Bales has gone into pits as well. But after all of that, 4 drivers in that front pack that are yet to take their first of 2 compulsory pit stops. Scott Gamble, Daniel Hall, Simon Farrington, and David Logsdale all staying in.
Now Logsdale, the other teammate of Team AJR, has gained the most at 31 positions by staying out for the second safety car. Not applying any curse on the team.
I mean, I don't know, mate. You've got some form already here, don't you? That's a.
Oh, David, you got this.
Interesting start. I don't know what to expect at this point. I can only hope that this couple of laps they've gotten enough time to get some temp into the tyres, and they do start to bring the pace down a little bit from here, just to get into the rhythm of it. Because I honestly, I love this track. It's a lot of fun to drive, except when you're driving behind a safety car, because it is such a long lap behind a safety car.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, if it's an indication from the first safety car, we should get going pretty quick.
Scott Gamble will find himself in front of the field again. No pit stops for him yet. Take a look at just how the field looks. A lot of drivers having made their first stop, and there's really only that 4 out of the top 6 yet to make their first stop. So it'll be interesting to see. Look, at some point, that's got to start to play a part. And we're still 24 laps away. I don't know. You're not going to be saving so much fuel that being behind the safety car is a huge difference at the end of 28 laps at this point. But it's a gamble. A gamble for Scott Gamble, honestly. It really is. Out in front, no compulsory pit stop just yet. He's counting on having the pace to distance himself enough. When you consider that what we're seeing at the moment is pit lane times of about 40 to 50 seconds from end to end for the pit stops for all of these drivers. I mean, that's a lot of time to lose on the pit stops, and Gamble must be counting on these other drivers still having to make a second and a third stop. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and if you did want to do it, you'd do it straight away. So now, you know, while the field was kind of spread out, but now everyone's bunching back up together. Just for the viewers as well, yeah, so the top 3 are the ones who have not pitted yet out of the whole field now. The Gamble, Hall and Farrington. We've not got confirmation yet, do we, about the safety car? It looks like someone straight away, so now out to go around.
Yeah, it's a bit of an ask. I don't know what to make of it at this stage. It's look. I'm sure there's a strategy at play here, right? But if I'm Scott Gamble, you know, you see the first safety car happen, and you think, okay, you know, lap 1, it's probably too soon to be thinking about it. Lap 2 comes around, you see all these drivers behind you go in and make their stops, and you end up thinking, okay, yeah, well, maybe I can make something of this. But the safety car comes in, and all of about half a lap later, another safety car gets pulled. I'm trying to wrap my head around why you wouldn't come in and get that first compulsory stop done and be on level pegging with all of these drivers, because you wouldn't have lost a huge amount of time and space. Gamble had a nice little run going on. Race control letting us know safety car is coming in this lap. It's it's an interesting one. It really is.
It is, yeah. I mean, it makes sense with the other team starting much further down the field if they want to try and gain some track position, even if it's temporary. But yeah, with Gamble, I don't know. I guess we'll have to keep an eye on him and see how it unfolds, to see what he's thinking, if it's going to pay off by the end of the race.
I mean, we're going to be up to 5 full laps, basically under safety car conditions.
Yep.
So maybe he's calculated fuel saving to be worth this risk, I suppose. It's a big ask.
Yep.
Hey, a big shout out to, of course, the guys over at Simple Racing Broadcast channel who are checking this out. We are testing tonight for the first time, simulcasting this on both the Alliance Sim Racing channel and the Simple Racing Broadcast channel. So I'm hoping that when I go back and review all of this in the post-race wrap-up, that it's all worked okay. But Lucas, if you can keep an eye on the chat there and call anything out, that'd be great.
Yeah, I was just about to say, from what I can tell from my end, everything looks spick and span on both streams.
Fantastic.
And
we're winning.
yeah,
Okay.
all looking good.
I'd love to hear that technology is my friend tonight. Not so much the friend of a number of drivers out here on track. The biggest losers, as it were, so far, the big one, really, Scott Mackay, down to 37th after starting in 4th. That's not the start that he would have wanted to this season, I'm sure. And it's already 2 pit stops counted after his first repair efforts. Troy Sippel finds himself down 9 spots. The others to keep an eye on, Chad Weigar down to 31st, down 18 positions. We have just a huge number of impacts right throughout the field. Michael Stewart in 29th is down 21 from his starting position. Rain Campbell, after that, well, we can't really call it the source incident because it was just after, but Rain Campbell down 18 positions to 24th. One Performance Racing.
There's a lot of shuffling going on after La Source, and I think people trying to keep out of each other's way, and very tight, wide cars, and unfortunately, a few cars got turned around for the first lot of incidents before Eau Rouge.
On the upside, there's always a positive to be found in all of this, and the positive is that Tim Nicol has got more time in the seat of that 24/7 Sim Services safety car in his first 5 laps of Season 5 than I think he did all last season.
Oh wow,
So,
there you go, that's a cool start.
Tim Nicol is loving life right now. He's actually getting to get out there and put some pace down. Of course, the biggest challenge for him, I reckon, is knowing that Mustang GT3 is actually faster around Spa than the V8 supercars, and he's not getting a chance to show it off. That's a shame. That's a shame.
Now it looks like he's
Anyway.
peeled off, and now Gamble's taken the lead of the pack, getting ready to restart the race. We've got a little bit of time, obviously, before the end of the lap.
He's got to hold that pace car speed.
Yep.
See, the pace car comes into the pits there.
And just a quick thing from the ASR stream chat, Sandman said, wild start. Wow, that was a little bit earlier on. From the first safety car.
I can't think of any other way to put it. You're spot on, Sam, and that
And
was
Annie P was saying they should have zigzagged, and they all should have zigged.
oh, mate, it's. I'm
Funny
not
that
gonna
easy,
say,
eh?
I'm not going to say that I didn't expect it, but geez, what a
And here we
start.
go.
Here we go. The green flag goes, and Scott Gamble has control of the field as we get underway again to start lap 6 of 28. Look at that, a 4.5 minute lap compared to a 2.5 minute race pace lap. And yeah, you can see that there's absolutely a lot of extra time.
A couple of moves being made.
Jamie Dyke getting a nice little restart. Big moment there for Peter Sattler getting a little bit loose as well. But yeah, Dyke has done well out of all of this, up 16 positions, and his poultry pit stop's already done. So it'll be certainly interesting to see if he manages to hold that up. Scott Gamble now is giving up the spot to Daniel Hall, which is an interesting one. Don't know if that was intentional or not, but keep your eye in the background. Simon Farrington is losing position to Wayne Walker, charges on through the inside. Matt Vanderkran right on his tail as well, so these three are going to be locked into it. It does look as though, oh no, David Logsdale is still running, which is probably the best we can hope for after the start we've had so far. But what a spot to be turned around. He's going to back it all the way up to the fence there.
Oh no.
And just sit and wait that one out. He'll be up and running again though, so nothing to it. Luke Allman coming up the inside on the downhill, gets past Craig Rose. And let's start to have a bit of a look at who's in all of these battles, because there is plenty going on.
Am I my ignorance? I didn't realise when Hall got past Gamble.
Yeah, it was actually on the Kemmel Straight, and it almost looked like Gamble let him through. Yeah,
that's right over, okay.
Yeah, he pulled right over to the inside, and I couldn't see a reason for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it was just a lack of drive out of the corner.
Yeah. Over a second to Walker now.
Yeah, starting to open up that gap.
Yeah, if Walker does manage to stay latched onto the front two.
Have a look at Rain Campbell starting to charge back through the border here, though. He's right now in the battle for 19, but he's just absolutely annihilated 3 or 4 cars in the space of a half lap. Okay, so finds himself up into 20th now. Yeah, look, I knew the name stood out from somewhere. I don't know if it's from the front end of some finishes in other races that I've seen, but right now demonstrating why he started up in the top 6. Is absolutely charging through in the Simrig's entry for One Performance Racing. Not a bad look at that either, right? Always keen to see what people bring to the party when they do come along. Todd Martin.
Yeah.
Jamie Dyke will pass into the source. Martin gives him plenty of space.
Plenty of room. Yep. Nice overtake.
Sorry, Michael Whiting. Okay, go. Michael, Jamie, get the colours sorted out, mate. They're too close together for me. Simon Farrington now under pressure from Vanderkran as they head onto the Kemmel Straight. Vanderkran's going to look for the pass. Farrington moves over, and that's exactly what we saw from Scott Gamble in the previous lap. Going all the way to the inside to give plenty of room to run there. There's Jamie Dyke. Maybe a slightly brighter shade of green. We'll have to figure that one out. Just behind them, big lock up from Peter Sattler. Just avoids contact with James Hardy. And of course, our 2 naming sponsors, AA West Automotive and Quantum Tint Solutions, they're 2 racing teams right there with 3 of their cars in the mix. Behind them, though, Peter Sattler's giving up trouble. He's copped a slowdown. He's cut a corner there. He's copped a slowdown, so loses a number of positions as Schroeder, Logsdale, and Ladder all make their way past. And in the background, Michael Whiting is looking to pounce as well. We've got plenty of battles going right through the field. Damon Fisher, Dylan Sippel, Mark Poynton caught up in it here. Nice little trains going on. This is what we'd love to see from the Gen 3 supercars.
We also have Walker that's getting ever so close to the Gamble now, half a second. In a matter of a lap.
Going on up front. So Wayne Walker's certainly got the pace that we saw from him last season. And we've now got a battle for the top 3 positions, not those top 2. So big moment for Daniel Hall as you see him just sliding around, struggling to gain control of that car. Somehow gets it pointed in the right direction, but those tyres are going to be screaming after that little moment. And this is Wayne Walker's opportunity to pounce the pace at an all-time high as they make their way down towards the chicane. Does Gamble have the ability to hold off? More importantly, does Hall have the ability to jump through here on Hall? That was so close to a massive race-ending moment from Daniel Hall. He's done an amazing job.
Yeah, he did really well to hold that together. I thought that was going straight into the wall on his left, but good work.
Yeah,
Keeping it straight.
that's the difference between these drivers and, say, me. Andrew Rushworth gets passed by Ryan Campbell through the chicane, and we see a lot of moves happening there. It's starting to pile up here through the chicane in the background. This is the latter half of the field. Have a look at these cars coming down the home straight at the moment. We're looking at Damon Fisher in amongst the middle of it, but you've got Dylan Sipple, you've got Craig Rose out in front. Fisher gets up the inside of Dylan Sipple. Plenty going on. We're going forward. Nick Boisler getting into it as well. He's looking to just hold off Ryan Campbell if he can, and that's going to be a big ask indeed. Side by side as they go up and over Radial. Again, Ryan Campbell just pushing so hard. Boisler though up 13 positions so far. Doing very, very nicely. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, I was about to say all the way up and down the field. More so than probably predicted due to the mixing up of the order early on from the first safety car. But I think it's going to be like this for a few laps until the pace of the drivers does get shuffled out a little bit.
So Longsdale to really defend here, trying to stay with Michael Whiting, but he's got the mirrors full of Button, has he? Rushworth now. Just trying everything he can to overtake Nick Boisler here. Not able to get it done at the moment. Out in front though.
Yeah, Walker's very close to...
Here we go.
Yep.
So Wayne Walker has been all over the back of Daniel.
Thanks for blush him up and see if he can get a run through up to the chicane. He was very close to the previous lap here as well.
These high-speed corners, this driver's going to have to be so careful with the tyres on the Gen 3 cars. Here it is. Walker looks up the inside. Does he make the move?
Meanwhile, Gamble's made a little bit of a lead due to this battle going on for P2.
Have a look at this side by side. Rushworth gets past Boisler. They run very, very wide. That's going to be close to a slowdown for Boisler. And in the background, we've got Chris Miller in that incredibly purple Fishy Motorsport entry. Oh, big moment into the chicane for a number of cars. Stewart gets turned. That's a horrible spot to be stopped. And again, Dylan Sipple turned as well. So Stewart and Sipple both sideways. Stewart coming off better than Sipple after all of that.
No, it's unfortunate.
We go further ahead. Boisler and Miller side by side.
Yeah, at least there's nothing major. I think the car's intact. Looks like Walker has picked ball as well up the front. For P2.
Trying to catch all of the action here tonight is going to be a massive challenge.
Yeah. No, that's all good.
Campbell makes another spot up the inside of Allman.
Oh, did he get nudged? I'm not sure what happened there. Looks like he came off the corner looking his brake.
Oh,
there he is.
Who was that just re-entering the track behind? Peter Sattler.
Might have possibly got nudged from behind potentially. I don't know for sure. That's what it seemed like. Unless he just outbroke himself, but he was in front before that happened.
Let's go back and see if we can see just what's happened to Peter Sattler there. Well, big lock of the brakes.
Yeah, I think he just did it on his own. Yeah.
Sattler's taken the escape road rather than cause any further issues, which is honestly, I think that's what sets apart the quality of racing in this league compared to your officials or even some of the other leagues out there. In virtually any race that I've ever been in, outside of a couple of leagues, that driver's trying to get back into the race line. They're not taking the escape road. Yep. You know, and it makes a huge difference to the overall quality of the racing. As we see Chris Miller make his way past Todd Martin, Nick Boisler hot in pursuit as well. Keep your eye on Rain Campbell though, moving up the timing tower. He's right on the back of Dean Logsdale and really pushing hard. Now has clawed back to 15th position. He is absolutely flying through the order.
Yep.
And I reckon we're about to see another move here as we come to the chicane. He's looking to the inside. Logsdale's going super defensive. Can Campbell respond, or is it just too tight in the corner? Has he got the drive onto the straight? Let's see what he can do. It's a good exit from the chicane. The source is going to be the question. What does Logsdale do? Does Logsdale defend here? He doesn't. There's the opening. Campbell sits back. He's going to wait it out. He knows he's still got 18 laps to go here. No need to push and risk it all at such an early stage of the race. I tell you what, I'm almost glad to see these guys just making some calmer decisions here, Lucas. It's been a start to the season, that's for sure.
It has. Yeah, I think it's wise for most of these guys now to try and settle in. And we're 10 laps in now after the 2 safety cars. I think everyone just wants to try and get their points and be as sensible as they can at this point, especially while it's still very busy across the track. But it is starting to spread out a little bit. I don't think anyone really wants to do anything too silly.
No, you wouldn't hope so anyway. We've got a nice little train going on here behind Ken Ladder. Rick Bygar, James Hardy, Michael Whiting, Dean Logsdale, Rain Campbell, all in it. In what is effectively a battle for a nine. Rick Bygar, meanwhile, up 20 positions for all of that. As you see James Hardy slide the rear end. Rain Campbell in the background there. So this little train is going to come together, I would predict. We'll come back to it in just a second. Ashley Hall having a bit of a moment. This is earlier on. We'll see just what's happening here. Troy Sickle on his tail. Just about here. And just locks the front.
Too late.
Goes way deep. Locks the front again.
Broke a bit too late, unfortunately.
But that's interesting. Why would you not keep going to the escape road there? Maybe just a little bit of panic stations.
Could be some panic.
And that's
all the gravel on the outside of
huge
the exit there. That's so much.
And to give you an idea of just how far the guys are pushing, they go right to the edges, despite everything we've seen tonight already.
Yeah. So, I just want to point out, sorry, go.
No, just watching Vygar just starting to lose touch a little with Ken Ladder. And the Ladder obviously a fair bit quicker in qualifying, but Vygar's going to have to contend with the likes of Hardy and Whiting starting to really pressure him along here. So it'll be interesting to see whether he fights for the position or if he starts to just let him go a little bit as we're coming down to the source. I think that's probably a bit of an answer there for Whiting as he pushes on through in the background.
Bit of a... Oh no, he's held it, it's okay, yep. I thought the exit was a bit slow, but it seems to be okay for now.
It's really hard to tell sometimes here at Spa, isn't it? I am surprised though to see Campbell just sitting in.
Come through.
Clearly has the pace and just
looks like a little bit wide. Yeah, I mean they all got toes as well. Yeah, looks like made the move.
Hardy loses the position there. A little too much of the dirt, the logtail on the way through. Campbell, you can see, wants to follow. He definitely wants to get through right on the tail of that Camaro. There we go, up the inside. Rain Campbell pushes on through. James Hardy's not going to make it easy for him.
That's a nice overtake. That part of the track too, because the next few corners is extremely tricky to pass. So that's a nice move to get that out of the way for him.
He's further back. Got Mackay, despite the horrid start, looking for an almost identical move from Chad Vygar. Can't quite get enough nose in there now. I think Mackay probably just taking it a little easier now. You're not wanting to further jeopardise competition after what is close to the halfway point of this race. Out in front, Scott Gamble looking very, very comfortable. An almost 2-second gap now over Wayne Walker. You can see it. I'll tell you what, 2 seconds doesn't look like a huge amount when you see it in the pictures, but that's a fair gap that will close up. And then behind them, Daniel Hall over 3 seconds further back. So these two starting to really make their way off with it. Vanderkran is now eyeing off the inside of Hall's Mustang.
A little bit quicker than Hall at the moment in the last lap, and he's right up behind him now. And out of the guys that haven't pitted, so Farrington's still holding on to the top 10. He's in P7, which is good. And obviously Campbell and Hall yet to pit.
And that's a really good
Still
call,
just
isn't it?
be-
Scott Gamble still hasn't pitted out in front.
There's still a lot of pit stops to come. Obviously, everyone else still has to pit again, and well, not everyone, most of the field. But
Some of them
yeah.
have technically made the two stop. Even has been on the back of the
Yeah.
truck for the first one.
Yep.
So that's an interesting point to keep your eye on. Daniel Hall, just ahead of Matt Vanderkam right now, still needs to make his first stop. But Jamie Dyke behind has made his first, as has Vanderkam. Wayne Walker, up in P2, has made the first stop, but Gamble hasn't. So
Yep.
you've got to wonder if maybe the play from Gamble is, okay, I'm expecting more chaos. You see plenty of changing of position further back. This is Hardy and Schroeder side by side as we come to the first of the chicanes here.
What a
Not really
pack.
gonna. It's so tightly down, isn't it? Further up as well. Rain Campbell, Michael Whiting.
Yeah, so Campbell did get past Viger a few moments ago, and Viger did get in front of Farrington around the same time as well. So a few positions being made through the field, continuing to make their way through.
Rain Campbell is pushing hard. Look at this, looking up the inside.
Yep. there he goes.
That's a bold move to try and force something there, but he looks like he's going to get done. A little bit of panel rubbing. Both cars pushing very, very hard. This is a recipe for chaos if they're not careful. Campbell somehow has the pace, but he's on the outside.
Yeah, he's going to be on the outside coming through here now, but he's going to get the inside and then be on the out again. This is good hard racing though. This is amazing.
Door to door, Whiting and Campbell, neither of these drivers giving an inch. Campbell is really just abusing those tyres on the Mustang. Looks for the switchback, doesn't quite get the drive out of the corner.
I actually thought he might try and sit behind him on the exit and then get the run through, but he tried to get the early overtake, which didn't seem to help. We'll see now what happens through the big long straight leading up to the final chicane of the lap. Still sticking with him, of course, just fell back a little bit.
Campbell
Ooh.
has got to be really careful not to cook those tyres. They're pushing so hard on the outside of those corners. He's asking so much more of the tyres than what he probably should be.
Yeah, that's right.
Whiting's forcing that almost. Whether that's intentional or not, I'm not sure, but Campbell is right there on the tail, looking for the next opportunity. Just going to sit in, maybe let the tyres come down a little bit in temperature and have another crack at it. What a sequence of corners though from Whiting and Campbell. That is some really, really cool racing.
Yeah, definitely a bit more patient in the last couple of corners after, yeah, I think like you said, just using his tyres a bit too much.
Oh, contact there.
Oh.
Vandermeulen and Miller almost into the wall. Miller just a little distracted by Peter Sattler in the front, holding him up, and that was almost another big incident. Coming into Eau Rouge, they were at high speed there.
Yeah, I was lucky to get away with that one.
Vandermeulen looks to the inside, can he make a pass on Miller here? Going to force the issue. Miller goes wide, gets the inside run on the way back out, careful to avoid contact. Very, very tight racing there. Vandermeulen's pushing him hard. Meanwhile, Peter Sattler's really the beneficiary as they start to pull away. James Hardy now losing a position. In fact, the couple just had to drop out there and let Little Rushworth through. Still, the battle continues. Whiting and Campbell, one of the closest battles on the track, and it's been going on for some time now, folks. I'm sure you've been with us the whole time, but let's see what Campbell's got. He's not in the same position he was last lap. They're not side by side here, but he's right on the tail, still within 3/10 for most of this lap.
Let's see if he decides to tuck in behind this time instead of trying to get past before the final straight. A little bit further behind, but
he's either got to be thinking about setting up into the chicane or into the source, right?
That's a little gravel by ladder, but yeah, definitely. I mean, also his tyres could be
they could be fried, right? They could be absolutely fried. Not that I think it makes much difference with the amount of safety car time we've had, but Campbell came in on lap 1 for his stop, Whiting came in on lap 3. Now, given that the first 17 laps to get on the safety car. we had basically the first 5 laps on the safety car, so really the couple of lap difference in tyres shouldn't make much difference to where these guys are at right now.
Yep.
But Whiting is probably the position of advantage here just by being able to drive defensively and control Campbell's control Campbell's desired lines as we see Dean Lockdale and Sean Vandermeer on the internet.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. So they're coming in for their final scheduled stops, I believe.
Yeah,
of the race.
they'd have to be thinking about making it to the end from here.
Yeah, definitely.
I suspect. Yeah, I suspect that would be a scheduled stop rather than sort of carrying damage. We didn't see anything particularly bothersome from him. Here goes Campbell. So Whiting's gone defensive. Campbell is alongside as they make the run down the back of the Kemmel Straight. Campbell's through on the outside. They're very, very close to contact there, but they've pushed hard through. Campbell goes
He's gone a bit wide.
very wide, but shuts the door on Whiting. Can Whiting respond here? Looks up the inside. Doesn't make the dive, just wants to be in the mirrors at the moment. Keep the pressure on Campbell. Whiting's not giving this up without a fight, staying latched onto the back of Campbell's car. And maybe this is just a bit of a reversal from Whiting. He's going to enjoy putting some pressure on Campbell instead of being pressured for a little while.
Also, should point out as well from all the incidents earlier, unless I am mistaken, which I don't think, there's been no penalties served from race control. Everything has been...
It's all been no further action. Yeah, you're spot on, which is... Look, I think just the nature of what we saw, right? It's been such hard racing, but nothing that really crosses the rules in any particular way. So
especially race starts, restarts, that's always taken into consideration as well. So
always a mess. Here comes Ken Ladder, looking for a way past Simon Farrington. Farrington just moves over, allows Ladder to look at the room. And how do you say that?
Oh my goodness, what is going on tonight?
Post-race penalty for car number 21. Just announced by the stewards, so that's Dylan Sippel. Will have a post-race penalty. Now, not likely to affect his position much, given he's running dead last at this point after that earlier excursion into the wall out of the chicane. Here suddenly makes the move past Hardy. On the way into the chicane. Again, we did say earlier, very, very few opportunities to make the overtake. That is one of them. Hardy goes into the pits in the background. Out in front, Paul Vanderkraan and Jamie Dyke right into it. Vanderkraan is looking to pass here, and he's got the run out of Radion, down the Kemmel Straight. Vanderkraan at absolute top pace. Paul's going to tuck him behind. Watch for Jamie Dyke. Is he going to put a move on the next couple of corners as well? Paul is just, he's on very old rubber now. And again, I say that noting full well that the pit stops that Vanderkraan and Dyke made were only on that one, so I don't know that counts for a lot. Alistair Bales has had a crash in the background. We'll go back and take a quick look and see what's happened here. Coming into the source, hard on the brakes. Just stepped it out too fast to get on the throttle. Thankfully, no contact.
Nice save.
It was a few
stops that are just happening now too. There's a pack of about 4 or 5 cars that all went in. And still to note that Campbell and Hall and Farrington have still yet to pit.
Scott Gamble's in a dangerous position here. He needs another safety car to have any hope of sticking with it at this point.
Yeah, that's right. That'll be a big advantage for those 3 that have yet to pit.
Daniel Hall in the middle of Vanderkraan and Jamie Dyke is not going to have the ability to hold with this. And it's not about tyres, it's not about fuel, it's about the compulsory pit stops for Hall at this point. The fact that he hasn't made one yet, it's going to cost him, you would have to think, at least 30-35 seconds if all he does is get up on the jacks and take a liter of fuel and go. That's a huge thing. Gamble's in. Scott Gamble's coming in.
Here we go.
So this will show you just how far back Gamble will fall here. Going to have a lot of work to do to make it up. That said, I mean the second stops from Vanderkraan and Dyke at Wayne Walker in front will adjust this again, I'm sure. But the fact remains that Scott Gamble's going to have to come in and do this pit stop again.
So Farrington's coming for his first stop as well, and Vargas coming for his second and final stop.
You'd have to think that the plan here for Gamble and for Farrington lap 16 of 28, you're past the halfway point, so you fill with fuel to the end here, and you make your second compulsory stop an absolute dash. Come in, get up on the jacks, take a whiff of fuel, get out. Maybe some fresh tyres if you're really open on it, but really the only way they're going to benefit at this point is by making sure that they get in and out as quickly as possible for that second stop.
Yep. That is correct. So, we have Campbell 13th and Farrington a bit further down in 19th with roughly the spacing between them.
About what you can expect.
Yeah.
Jamie Dyke, just to call it out, sitting in 4th at the moment, up 18 positions. Daniel Hall up 20 positions, although with that pit stop yet to be done. Yep. So Jamie Dyke absolutely flying, continuing the sort of form that we saw from him last season.
And Varga as well from Angry Birds Racing is up 21 at the moment with one pit stop made and one to go with him as well.
Yeah, there's some opportunity there for Rick Varga to get a top 10 finish out of this.
What have we got? We have 12 laps remaining. There's not a lot of time for 2 stops for Mr. Hall.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math here on just how much this is likely to impact. And we're not going to see that really come through until the second stop start to be made. Right now, Jamie McKnight is the first of the drivers that have both their stops done, but his second stop was on lap 2, so the first stop was a damage repair, or perhaps the second stop was a damage repair, but in either case, he's not going to be able to make it to the end without another stop. So
Here comes Hall as well.
Hall's come in. So keep your eye on Daniel Hall and just how far down the order he falls. Jamie Dyke here, from battling with Hall, now has a 2-second gap forward to Matt Vanderkrant to try and reel in. That's a bit of an ask.
Yeah, and also Campbell's come in for their second stop. He was absolutely flying up until that point. So
almost recovered back to position 6 where they started.
Yeah.
So that's a big move. I'm going to predict that there's a good chance of a top 5 finish for Ian Campbell still, despite all of the drama, which says to me that name is going on my one to watch this season list.
Definitely.
So
it looks like Campbell has ended up in front of Hall.
I reckon that Rain Campbell is probably, actually Stephen Varga is probably the first of the drivers that's made a genuine 2 stops so far. So down at 18th is Vargs. Second stop on lap 15. Can make it to the end from there quite comfortably. So keep your eye on currently 18th Stephen Varga is effectively, I'm going to call the race leader at this point.
And you said, so was it McKnight that you said earlier that had a damage one of the 2 stops?
Look, I would have to think so. Jay McKnight and Lord McKee have both made 2 stops, so it's 12th and 13th. They've both made 2 stops, but both of their second stops were on lap 2. Now, if it's not that one of those has been to repair damage, then the ask for a set of Gen 3 Supercar tyres to last 26 laps around Spa, and for your fuel to get through that far with 70% fuel limit, that is wildly optimistic.
Yeah, fair enough.
In my opinion, and I am sure if Jamie McKnight were in the chat, he would absolutely correct me on my fuel calculations. But nonetheless,
I do remember that.
Nonetheless, I suspect that that's a bit ambitious.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, the only thing going for them is that there was 5 laps of no racing, so a little bit less wear on the tyres and the fuel consumption, but still taking up quite a bit of time, down 28, 23 laps. But
and we're seeing some more of the second stop happening. Clifton and Ladder in from 4th and 5th as Andrew Rushworth
as well
continues to look away past Rick Geiger, decides to, rather than get... This is always the decision point, right? If you're starting to get held up by the driver in front, maybe it's not a bad time to make that second stop instead. Give yourself some more clean air.
It is a good time. You've got 10 laps, and, I think the chance of a safety car at this point is quite unlikely. unless something major happens.
You had to say it, didn't you, Lucas? You had to say it.
There's, I know bad things happen in threes, but hopefully this third
We've
one.
had well more than three. Well more than
No, I
three
know,
tonight.
out of my curses, I guess. But yeah, there's a whole lot of stops happening now. Looks like, yeah, it's about 6, 7 going out. 8 of them all going out at the same time. So let's see this where this all unfolds. The top 6 have made one stop, and like you were saying earlier, McKnight is effectively the race leader currently in regards to pit stop. Whether he lasts the whole time, the whole way,
it's a big ask. A big ask. Yeah, I can't see that being. I can't see that happening. I just can't. Happy to be proven wrong, but both McKnight and McKee here locked in battle for 7th, with Daniel Hall just a bit further up the road in 6th. It's I find it increasingly unlikely that these guys are going to be battling for the top step. Now, the order's starting to change a little bit. We said Stephen Varga was the one to watch back in 11th. Ken Latta and Nick Clifton have both just made their second stops, and they're sitting in 9th and 10th ahead of Vargas. So there's something to watch there. You've got Whiting right on Varga's tail at the moment as well. So Stephen Varga under huge pressure. Wayne Walker's in. So Walker coming in for the second stop. This will be interesting. So keep your eye on the exit of Wayne Walker. Matt Vanderkruijm comes in as well.
Yep, and Vanderkruijm.
As Whiting goes through. Oh, can't quite get it done. They're going to be side by side. Whiting's got the better line. I'm just going to have to just step back from this one and tackle the back. So keep your eye very, very closely on that timing tower. There's Ken Latta. You can see smashing his way down towards the chicane right now. Ken Latta is the very likely race leader if these other drivers don't get out in front. I expect they will. Here we go. Wayne Walker's coming out of the pits now. As is Vanderkruijm, as is Jamie Dyke. There we go. Wayne Walker is out and plenty of distance ahead of Ken Latta. So the racing order up the front, here they come down towards Eau Rouge. Wayne Walker coming up the hill to Radion now is very, very well positioned for the rest of the race. Matt Vanderkruijm not too far in the background there. Jamie Dyke looking like a podium at this stage as well.
Yep, it looks like if it goes without
if it goes to plan.
Yeah, if it goes to plan for the remainder of the race, it looks like that would be potential finishing order.
You'd have to think Walker's got a very, very strong position here. I mean, he's got almost 4 seconds on Vanderkruijm. That's a big ask without any incidents causing to close up. And again, the gap for Vanderkruijm back to Dyke being 2 seconds. That's a pretty big one. We'll jump back quickly here because we've got a bit of a battle brewing down the Kemmel Straight. Logsdale, Vandermeer, Miller, and Rushworth fighting themselves in a bit of a group. Miller gets the inside line first over Rushworth. Rushworth just going a little bit too deep there. Had an opportunity to stick to the back and unfortunately has lost that one. And Logsdale and Vandermeer will continue to start the downhill run. This is a really, really tricky corner. You so desperately want to jump on the accelerator and you just can't.
Yeah, you got to be patient there.
So drive-through penalty for car 13. The incident on lap 8 with car 24. And so Craig Rose copied himself a drive-through penalty there. Back in 33rd at the moment. It won't play a major factor in the top standings here tonight. Miller wants to get going.
Yeah, he's got pace.
Been stuck behind Vandermeer a few times tonight, I've noticed.
Should get an opening coming up here if he sticks with him and gets a nice exit.
He's got to be thinking about
Vandermeer will have... Well, that was very close. Yeah.
And there's not going to be any arrow in Logsdale and front. Not going to be picking up any worthwhile slipstream. So Miller's in a prime position here. The only question will be the lines through Blushmont.
Yeah, looks like Vandermeer was a bit quicker through the kink there. a little gap.
What do here? I was expecting him to go very defensive. He hasn't.
No. Phil's had a look, we just let him know he's there. But yeah,
really tough corner to get it past done on. That chicane is so tight, and it doesn't take much to be well off the line.
yeah, you got to trust the guys around you to make it work a lot of the time. See what happens in the next lap here. Very close coming into T1.
Wayne Walker has just caught and passed Daniel Hall. That's been brewed for a little bit. And Hall, of course, still to make the second stop.
Yeah,
but it gives you an idea of just the absolute pace that Walker has. And we saw that last season, so that's nothing new for us. But he's just stepping away already out to a half second over Daniel Hall through a not particularly quick section of the track.
Yep.
Wayne Walker is so quick behind the wheel of Gen 3 Supercar.
Yeah, it looks like he's on another level at the moment. It's all going according to plan.
Poynton and Fisher down the Kemmel Straight. Fisher on the inside backs out. Poynton picks up another spot up into 21st. Nice and clean. These guys are playing it smart now, right? A couple of safety cars is enough to put them on a bit of a warning.
Yeah. So look at that. Yeah, Miller's already. Yep.
Rose is in to serve that drive-through penalty, I'm sure.
So okay, yeah. So Campbell's ended up in the top 10 after all the stops are shuffled, except for 2.
A long way to catch up for Campbell now, though.
Yeah.
Rushworth makes the move on Sean Vandermeulen back on the inside. Rushworth has to go very, very wide, lose some pace. Vandermeulen recovers the position nicely.
Yeah, it looks like...
But that's a warning shot.
Yeah, Rushworth backed out of that pretty quick.
Yeah, just found himself out in the marbles. Found himself out in the marbles, no grip at all. Couldn't get the power down. And Vandermeulen's running away with it. Wayne Walker has just set the fastest lap of the race, 2:24 flat.
Yep.
He's motoring Vanderkart at 2:24.3.
Very, very
3/10 difference in pace is massive. I know it's a long lap, but even so, that's a big gap considering Walker and Vanderkart both came out on the same lap in the pits. Nice fresh tyres, full tanks. They should be running pretty close together. Walker just continues to be on their own level.
Yeah, no, he's going extremely quick. And this is all working out nicely for him at this stage. He's back with Campbell, trailing Varga. You guys have mentioned a few times throughout the race.
Campbell's had an absolute cracker of a drive. Considering the incident lap 1, to be back into the top 10 here is a huge effort. What sort of a line was that from Ashley Hall, the privateer? Just letting the other car through, but not. Oh, Ryan Campbell, what a move!
Ooh, that was a bit ambitious.
Look, I don't know. He's certainly got the pace tonight. You look how quickly he's closed down Vargs. I mean, Varga is not a slow driver even on his worst days, and Ryan Campbell has reeled him in like there's absolutely nothing to it. We've got a little battle. We're going to take a look at further back because Peter Sattler gets all sorts of sideways. Damon Fisher and Lauren McKee getting caught up in it together. Sattler just managing to keep it on track somehow, and I think Fisher had a bit of a slowdown there. Or is that maybe just a redress for that contact? Probably more likely, I would say. Jump forward again though, because Ryan Campbell has closed in even further on Stephen Varga. He's got to be thinking about a pass soon. Vargas is going to have to either defend or let him through. There's no two ways about it. Ryan Campbell is going to pass Stephen Varga. It's just a question of when.
Yeah, let's see what happens here on the exits as somebody moves out of the way. Finally,
getting out of the way and not wanting any part of it, which is probably cool. That's pretty well what I'd do, honestly, Lucas.
Yep. So he's gaining through here very quickly. Let's see what happens after the kink. Yeah, he's stuck with him. Is he going to try it?
Gap closed down. Nothing in it.
Yep.
Campbell looks to the outside. Vargas is absolutely playing defensively here.
Thinking the long term of the chicane, trying to stay on the outside to get the
bit of contact there. Campbell forces the matter, charges through, takes the position. Some really good, strong defending from Varga. Nothing wrong with any of that contact.
No, I mean, there was a car with there. It was extremely tight, but Campbell made it work. So off he goes. Now he's going to...
Let's see how quickly he opens this gap up now, though. 6/10. Drive-through penalty for car 273 for the incident with car 16 under safety car conditions. So Paul McKee, I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but Paul McKee is serving a drive-through for that one. Didn't catch that. Michael Schroeder side by side with Rick Varga now as they come back. This is not a place to be side by side. Schroeder, mate. He's lost it. Can he keep it out of the wall? Just taps it.
Good work.
That's about the best that Schroeder could have hoped for there, because at the pace they were at, the suspension unloads as you come over the top into Radillon. He was so lucky to keep that straight.
Yeah, I thought that oversteer was about to snap. That was so close.
Absolute limits of the tyres grip there, and stepping well beyond that. Yeah, Michael Schroeder's done a great job to keep it out of the wall. We nearly had that safety car.
Yeah.
Almost. Now forward to Vandermeer and Rushworth.
Gamble and Hall are betting on with them yet to pit for their second stop. Just a FYI for everyone in the chat who's watching.
I cannot see what Scott Gamble's plan is here. He needs to make the second stop. He doesn't have the gap to Walker, who's pulled it right back within a second now. Rushworth all over the back of Sean Vandermeer. This battle for 14th continues. These guys have been going at it for a little while. There's been a little bit of back and forth. The gap has opened and closed a few times, but Rushworth still with it. You can see he's getting very impatient. That car moving side to side, just looking for an opening, looking for any opportunity. Gamble's in, as is Hall.
Oh, here we go, yeah.
So
there's a lot of movement on Rushworth's car at the back.
This is going to set our finishing positions now, I'd say.
Yep.
Let's see where Gamble and Hall come out. They're both into their pit bays now. It's Rushworth still just trying to find a way through.
Alright, Gamble's on the like that, so they're both out.
Gamble back on track in 6th position. Just ahead of Mick Clifton. Clifton, of course, running on ice cold tyres. Gamble's going to be on very cold tyres. If we can hold Clifton off here, it'll be a job well done. Look in the background, there's Rain Campbell up into 8th as a result of that.
Yeah, he's made actually a decent gap.
Yeah, almost 2 seconds back to Varga now.
Yeah.
Campbell is flying.
He's doing very well.
Although, to be fair, actually the lap time not that quick in the scheme of things. Campbell's last lap at 125.49. Now, you consider that the likes of Wayne Walker in front at 24.99, his best lap at 24.03. Campbell's best lap has been at 24.59. I wonder if it's just a matter of consistency at this point to get back to here, but in any case, a very solid drive from Campbell.
Yeah, he's done very well. I think comfortably in the top 10 with 5 laps to go.
Once Martin takes the inside line, just couldn't get up in time, so he'll step out, have a bit of a slowdown penalty there, I'm sure. Yeah, Igar and McKnight. The Kemmel Straight continues to deliver those opportunities. It really is one of the few chances you're going to get in the Gen 3 Supercar to make a pass. As we see now, Schroeder, Hardy and Quinton coming together to battle for 18th.
Yeah, this is a nice little battle here. See if... I don't know, it's all still up for grabs, really.
Yeah, there's still plenty of positions. I mean, this is early days, right? Race 1 of the season. Probably the biggest advantage for these drivers here tonight, because it is a single race evening, the points on offer are actually quite a bit better for each position than what you get in a standard 2-race evening. As we see, Schroeder running very wide, gives up the position. Hardy and Quinton continue their way through.
Yep.
Plenty of marbles building up, plenty of debris on the track. We're down to just, well, 4 laps to go, really. At this point, Wayne Walker out in front, looking super comfortable. 5.5 seconds over Vanderkran, who himself has 4.5 over Jamie Guy. Ken Latta, what a story for Latta, has made his way back to 4th position.
Yeah.
Michael Whiting up 6 positions to 5th right now. Scott Gamble's still holding on to 6th despite probably not making the right strategic call on that pit stop. Despite getting
the holdout was for...
Look at this, pointing forces away at the inside of the source. Oh, big contact. I don't know what James Hardy's done there.
I think the car oversteered.
Just snapped on him.
Yeah, I think once he put the accelerator down, it snapped oversteered and obviously caused the accident. I think that...
Lucky not to have done any real damage. McKay and Vargo side by side. Scott McKay's on the outside, has the run. But a slower car forcing both of them to the inside of the track. Bit of a lock up there from Dean Longsdale. He's carrying a fair bit of damage on the front end.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure when that one will have happened. I'll go back and just see if I can see what on earth happened to James Hardy.
Would be good. Yeah, at this point you want to try and keep whatever points you're going to get with 4 laps to go. A single session.
A little further back. Perhaps when
oh, that was originally when yeah,
that was the first one.
Yep.
But here as we're coming to the source, James Hardy on the outside, Mark Point gets up the inside. Hardy jumps on the throttle. Look at the snap of oversteer there.
Yeah, no, that's a huge oversteer. Hopefully they can drive their cars to the end without any issues.
I think they'll do all right. It didn't look like there was any damage. One of the things we've certainly seen is the robustness of the Gen 3 supercar build for damage from the side. It holds up very, very nicely to side-by-side racing.
Yeah.
It tends to only be when you put the nose or tail into a wall that you end up with significant damage. Dean Logsdale, meanwhile, you saw him carrying some damage before as Vargar came through. Has just had to tweak the hit, so that might be the end of the race for Logsdale.
That's a shame. We also have Campbell and Gamble both within overtaking distance further upfield.
We'll see Whiting and Gamble on the screen.
Gamble here trailing.
Big sideways movement there from Gamble as they come up and over Eau Rouge into the Kemmel Straight. Now Gamble's got some pace out of the top of Radion there. Not enough to get ahead of Whiting just yet, but it's going to come down to the braking at the end of the Kemmel.
5-second penalty for car 19.
Gamble dips a tyre off into the dirt, forcing the issue. Whiting the same, very, very inside line there, both giving each other as much space as they can. In the end, Gamble coming out ahead.
Gamble.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Although it's my... Oh no. Okay, he's closed it off.
And in the background, Rain Campbell's made it look like nothing at all to get past
Alan Clifton.
Up to P7, good work. This is up through Eau Rouge into Radion. Look at them. Just barely misses the rear end of Clifton's car. But
So
that's the
close.
pace that Campbell needed, and gets the pass done on the Kemmel Straight.
Nice work.
We'll look ahead. Wayne Walker just cruising along out in front.
5.5 seconds in front of the field.
Almost 6 over Vanderkran. Just
Yeah.
a phenomenal lead. And it's not the first time we've seen Walker do this sort of thing. The really interesting thing when we go back to some of the earlier seasons, this is exactly what Matt Vanderkran was doing to the field of drivers at the time. He was finishing 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 seconds ahead of second place. It's a bit of an unusual position for Vanderkran to be in over the last couple of seasons, and really just demonstrates, no matter how quick you are, there's always someone out there who drives like a Wayne Walker. You always find someone quicker.
In a class of their own, as some might say. But no, he's done brilliantly. He hasn't put a foot wrong. It's worked out well for him.
I think drive of the day for me so far, as good as Rain Campbell's recovery has been, this man right here, Jamie Dyke, up into third, has played it beautifully, up 19 positions from where he started.
Yeah, that's absolutely massive. And to make it stick throughout the race is, that is very, very impressive. Fishy Motorsports, P3 and P4 at the moment.
Good points for the team.
And
Michael
P12,
Whiting in 6th as well, in Fishy.
and McKnight, the Fuel Master.
It's of course the fixed racing setups that these guys use in this series, if you're not familiar with it, are all provided by Jamie McKnight, so he builds setups for each and every round.
Okay.
So he is intimately familiar with the performing of cars and of course the fuel load. It's what you can expect from him. Knows his stuff. Out of 10th now,
That's awesome.
Paul, Orman and Miller on the Kemmel. Paul just kind of weaving back and forward. A little unsure as to who he needs to defend from most. Looks like
Yeah,
it'll
so
be
Hall
Miller.
does want to hold on to this because he was one of the late ones to make the second stop, hanging into the top 10.
Gamble's done surprisingly well, honestly, to take that very, very late second stop and still be 5th. Very strong effort.
Oh no.
Big moment, Hall's off. He's locked it up. Can he get it moving again? He's got to make it properly can. Or he is,
Very slow to...
he's just waiting out the cars behind. I wonder if he's done more damage to the car than it looked.
Maybe I'll have to have another look if you can when it's available.
Yeah, we'll give him a moment to get back on track here. But I don't know quite what has happened there. Big slide. Just looking for a puff of smoke from the engine or anything like that. Looks okay.
Unless...
Has he bumped his pit limiter on or something? Is that what's happened here? Very
unless
unusual.
it's a hardware interference or something like that, because it's just kind of rolling down the hill now.
He's stopped the car now.
Yeah.
Did we miss a motor pop there? Now this is going to be really interesting. Do we get a safety car now?
Well, if we did, we finish under yellow, yeah? That's...
We would.
Yeah.
I believe, although I'd have to check the rule book. It does look though, it looks as though they have managed to get that car off the track without needing a safety car out there. So
Okay.
Daniel Hall, that's very interesting. I
Yeah.
have no idea what's happened for him.
It
There.
could be maybe a hardware issue, or... Because, yeah, I mean, the immediate full brakes, and then the car just doesn't accelerate after that, which is kind of... rolls down the hill and stops, so... And it wouldn't be a fuel issue if you locked up like that.
No. Speaking of fuel issues, Sean Vandermeulen and Luke Allman both into the pits. Now, whether that's...
Oh, yeah, of course. The two we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it does look like they've had to come in for just a very quick splash of fuel. 10 seconds in the box for Allman, only 6.6 for Vandermeulen, but that's cost them, unfortunately. Way more to go. Look at this. Just enjoying a casual drive around Spa-Francorchamps. What a way to do it.
Take it in
Seconds
the
ahead of
stride.
Vanderkraan, 7 seconds further back to Jamie Dyke. You just see Vanderkraan sneaking into the back of the picture there. But the battles are still on. The 18th position is what's being contested here. Allman, after that late pit stop, has come out in front of Jamie McKnight. Sean Vandermeulen just behind, and Chad Vigo put up in it. Now Lorne McKee joins the back of it, so we've got a 5-way battle for 18th. Luke Allman on fresh tyres.
Confirmation in the ASR chat from Summon Hayes that the motor has been blown.
The motor did go. There you go. Thank you,
that's
Simon.
interesting.
Appreciate
Obviously,
always having an ear on it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, usually you'd see that
That's
that
such a shame.
telltale puff of smoke, and look, maybe we missed it where we first went off the track. We'll go back and see if we can find another view of it. Let's jump back and take a look. Just keep your eye up front.
There he is up there.
There's Daniel Hall. Oh, there it goes.
Oh,
yeah,
there
so
we
we
go,
just missed it. The motor's gone.
That was
So
very
that's
quick.
absolutely something we've seen far too often with the Gen 3 supercars. And all that'll
That is
be
rough.
is an extra downshift when we didn't intend it. And that motor is gone. So Daniel Hall, unfortunately, out in the
Really
last
surprised
couple
how
of
quick
laps.
the visualization was on that. Like about a second, and then yeah, like we missed it the first time. We just saw the smoke from the tires, and that was it.
Yeah. Just the timing in the end.
Final lap of the race.
Wayne Walker, very, very
28,
comfortable.
28, white flags out.
Matt Vanderkran has closed the gap by a couple of tenths, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. Wayne Walker just making sure he gets around safely at this stage. His last lap at 25.3, still faster than Vanderkran's 25.43 in the last lap. So, despite everything, Wayne Walker has not lifted his foot for a second here.
Yeah, no, he's
Very impressive run.
impressive from start to finish. Consistent, in a class of his own, and a huge start to season 5.
Absolutely is. You see Wayne Walker in shot just at the bottom of the screen, working his way through. I have to ask him about that wheel. It's a little bit fancy.
I'm trying to make out which one it is. Yeah, very
Something
nice.
much nicer than mine, I can tell you that much. Maybe that's the key. But,
What do you run?
Mate, it's just a bit of entry level Fanatec here.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fine.
That's right,
It's fine.
right?
I just don't have all the fancy dials, you know, all the fancy lights. But of course,
That's right.
racing in VR, there's no point.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Wayne Walker, what a drive! Absolutely stellar all the way through. Deserves this. He's done a fantastic job for race 1 here of season 5. As he comes to the chicane for the very last time, have to be absolutely stoked with this. You can see Vanderkran in the background, but absolutely no hope of catching him. Wayne Walker comes across the line. There it is, the checkered flag. A fantastic win for Walker. Matt Vanderkran crossing the line and just behind. I say just behind, it's a full 6 seconds back. Jamie Dyke falling further behind now. But finishes just ahead of Ken Latta in the end.
Yeah, putting some pressure on at the end of the lap there. Congratulations to Wayne Walker. Absolute
huge.
brilliance.
100%.
And yeah, for Accelerate Sim Racing with 2 in the top 10 in their team, which is cool. They've had Rushworth in 11th, just outside the top 10.
That's not quite done here because Boynton's making a last-ditch effort to take 13th of Rick Vigar. Can he get it done out of the chicane? I don't think so. Vigar's had a great drive. It's going to be close, but in the end, Vigar holds on to 13th, up 17 positions from where he started. Massive drive
that's
for Vigar.
really good.
McKnight holds off Vandermeulen as they come across the line. Only just Schroeder has had a big... Oh, he's out of fuel.
No way, is he coming
Michael
over
Schroeder
over the
just
line?
rolls across the line. Just gets there. Look at it. Cough and splutter.
Hey, they're not asking for a fuel sample at the end of the race, are they?
No, thankfully, I think he'll be alright.
Wow. What a finish.
We'll go back and take a look at that, because look at Michael Schroeder as he comes through a turn. This is just enough to starve it of fuel. Watch it hiccup on the way out. Just
There it is.
dies.
Almost got rear-ended as well.
Absolutely
Oh my goodness.
dies in the run to the line. Desperately trying to coax anything out of it. Just gets it across the control line in the end.
Work. That was a great race.
What a way to start the season, eh?
So many battles, like all up, like the whole, like 3/4 of the race was just tense battles all the way through the field. Chaos at the start. Everyone settled in eventually. Really, really good overtakes. Yeah, Spa always delivers. Whatever discipline you come here with, I just love this track. Always produces good racing, and in these cars especially, it's awesome.
Oh, it absolutely is. Just waiting on the last of the cars to make their way across the line now. And we'll just wait on a couple of drivers coming to have a chat to us in a moment as well. But
Yeah, sounds good.
we will bring the results up before we do that. And they look a little like this. Official results coming through. Round 1, Wayne Walker takes the win ahead of Vanderkran with Jamie Dyke and Ken Latta not too far behind. Scott Gamble and Michael Whiting ahead of Rain Campbell and Mick Clifton, then Stephen Barger and Chris Miller round out your top 10. I don't think we've got Jamie Dyke around this evening, so we'll start with position number 2. Matt Vanderkran, it seems like it's been a long time since you and I spoke, my friend. Welcome back to the booth.
Has been a while, Jared. Too long, hasn't it? Really?
Look, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? honestly.
Well, I was absolutely filthy at the end of last season, last race, battle for the championship, and I had COVID.
Crucial,
And
crucial, mate.
I was. Look, I'm pretty soft at the best of times, to be honest. But but I could do a lap or two. There was no way I could do a whole race. So anyway, gutted, but really happy with tonight too. In this field, it's a very strong field now to get a podium.
We were actually just saying towards the end of the race, Lucas obviously being fairly new to the booth, just giving him a bit of a background on Alliance Sim Racing and how it used to be you finishing out in front by 8, 9, 10 seconds. Roles a little bit reverse here. Wayne Walker's pace is just phenomenal. How's it feeling being in P2 with so much distance ahead?
I call him Wayne Runner. He's no Walker. He runs.
No Walker at all, mate. It's,
Like that.
pace.
Mate, no, it's great, and there's always been faster blokes out than me. For a while, I had a good run in this league, and I'm going to battle my ass off to try and get these guys, and it's fantastic to have some really fast guys. And no, mate, Wayne's he's a worry, but there's some big other worries. Kenny, Scotty, Jamie Dyke. I'm going to miss people out. Mark Point and Michael Stewart. Oh, mate, so many. Michael Whiting. There are so many fast blokes in this league now.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of talent here, and frankly, I cannot wait to see what the rest of this season brings. The only other question I'll ask you about the rest of the season before I let you get on with celebrating a great start to season 5 for you. This has got to be the least Australian season when it comes to track lineup that I think we've seen so far. You're looking forward to the Bend and being back on home soil for just one race this season? Is there anything that stands out as a favourite track amongst the list of 10 this time around?
Yeah, mate, there's some really good tracks. I'm really looking forward to this season. I reckon it's an absolute rocker as far as the track selection goes. The Bend, I can see why it's called the Bend. Yes, it's a tail and bend, but there are a lot of bends on it.
It's a fun one.
That's going to be good fun. Masano is a great track, really difficult to get right. That's really cool. Didn't think much of Portland, but who knows what it brings when it comes to racing. It could be an absolute cracker. Going to be a great. I'm really looking forward to the tracks in this season.
Good to hear, mate. Well, we'll let you go and just unwind a bit. Welcome back. Glad you're back with us and healthy. And it's been an absolute pleasure to watch you back in fine form. P2 here tonight. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Matt.
Thanks, boys, and welcome aboard, Scott. Lucas, well done.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Matty Vanderkraan taking P2. We'll jump backwards just a little now and we'll bring Jamie Dyke on into the booth. Jamie, what a drive, mate. Congratulations. P3 here tonight at Spa. It's a huge drive from you, up 19 positions from where you started. How are you feeling?
Yeah, a bit of mixed emotions at the moment, but I feel good with my drive.
Yeah, good. It looked pretty good from where we were sitting, mate. It was, I've got to be honest, it was pretty uneventful. We didn't actually take much time looking at you that I can recall throughout the broadcast, and yet somehow you just worked your way up through all of the chaos and found yourself on the podium. I think probably a pretty good start, all things considered. We did ask Matt Vanderkraan just then what he thought of this season's calendar and whether he had anything in particular he was looking forward to. I'm going to ask you the same question. What's right up your alley this season, mate?
To be honest, the Bend. If we're racing there, that's I'm looking forward to that. Outside, I can't remember what other tracks we're doing, but I was looking forward to the new competition this season if they start to show up.
Yeah, well, look, there's certainly plenty of new names floating around tonight that we've seen some pretty strong performances from. So I think you're going to have your work cut out for you right throughout the season to continue your form from season 4, mate. But what a way to start it off. Podium to get you underway. Congratulations, a pretty good result around Spa, and looking forward to hopefully chatting to you a few more times this season, hey?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Fingers crossed. Well done, Jamie. We'll chat to you soon, mate.
Jamie,
Thanks, boys.
Recovery drive. Enjoy.
Thanks, mate.
Jamie Dyke ending up in P3 there, but the man with all of the pace, once again, Wayne Walker, welcome back to the booth, my friend.
Wayne Runner.
Thank you.
Mate, that was... Look, I can't be surprised when I see this sort of performance from you anymore, but in a field with such a strong level of skill and some really, really fast times right across qualifying and practice, finishing 5.5 almost 6 seconds out in front in race 1 around Spa, somehow surviving all of the chaos. So I think that was probably key for you tonight, wasn't it? Just start at the front row so you avoided everything behind you.
Yeah, I think coming into tonight, I wasn't sure, you know, how I was going to go. Like this is not one of my favourite tracks at all. And then, yeah, I was actually surprised that I put it on pole. And then safety car lap 1, hitting, and a few others staying out. Yeah, sort of it was a good strategy call, and was able to get a gap.
Now, were you as surprised as we were to see Scott Gamble stay out through both of those safety cars?
Yeah, I thought he would have been in first safety car for sure. I wasn't actually sure why he kept going.
There you go. Okay, good. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better that maybe I have a reason to be confused then. But it's played out really nicely for you tonight, Wayne. A very, very solid drive. We've had a bit of a chat to Jamie and Maddie as well on their thoughts on the season ahead. Obviously, a very full lineup of tracks. Only the one Australian track when we go to the Bend in round 8 in the middle of August. Looking down the list of what's to come, you know, Road Atlanta, Long Beach is a cracker of a street track. We've got Portland, Road America. We've got Mazzano and Okayama to finish it off. Anything that you're looking forward to particularly where we expect you to really massively gap the field?
I don't know. I like all the tracks except for maybe Hockenheimring. That's about the only track I don't really like.
Well, that'll be one for us to watch then and see how you go there, mate. That'll be my benchmark for you this season.
Yep.
Look, a huge performance tonight. A solid win, a great way to start the season. Congratulations. Absolutely wearing that number 1 on the car for very good reason. Wayne Walker, welcome back to Alliance Sim Racing V8 Supercar Series. A great way to start your season off. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Yeah, it was
Congrats, Wayne.
Perfect way to start the season.
Yeah,
100%.
epic drive.
Absolutely. Anyone you want to say thanks to before we let you go?
Yeah, just the league, you know, everyone who helps run it. You guys for the broadcast. It's, you know, you're always doing an amazing job. My team, Accelerate Sim Racing, all their help and support as well. And our sponsors, Abbey Timber, Primal Wheels, Box and Lock Narang, and Modern Deck.
A list very worthy of the thanks, mate. Congrats again. Go on unwind, and we'll see you again next week, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Wayne Walker taking out the top spot here tonight. Lucas, round 1 done and dusted. I mean, only a couple of races you've seen from ASR, but what do you reckon so far as a relative newcomer to this league? Give us your thoughts.
I like it. I reckon it's really good, and like obviously you've been feeding me some information throughout the broadcast of just little tidbits of things I wouldn't be aware of straight off the bat. But yeah, it is a very, very tight field. There's, you know, a lot of it's nice to see new faces come into when there's, you know, very established drivers to mix things up constantly, and the start of a new season is always good. But for me personally, I think it's brilliant. So even if I'm not going to be broadcasting, I generally don't but you know, participate or get myself involved too much with league racing, because a lot of the time I'm not available and this and that. But being able to come on here and watch the races this way and cast with you has been a pleasure. But now I've got all the community links everywhere in the channels and the Discord, so I'll definitely be able to keep up with the season and see it unfold. And it was easier, at least this time, to put the sand down to keep track of the drivers without the driver changes, which, you know, all I need is some time just to wrap my head around the teams and drivers, and yeah, all the stories will start to develop over the course of the season, which is what you want.
It absolutely will. And what a story it's going to be. Season 5 off to an amazing start. All of the drama that you'd expect from Alliance Sim Racing, honestly, and not at all surprised that Spa has delivered exactly that within just a couple of laps. We go to Road Atlanta next week, the 1st of July. Make sure you don't miss out on any of that. If you're not already, hit that subscribe down below so that you do get notification of all of the racing. On behalf of Lucas Sott and myself from Simple Racing Broadcast, a very big thank you to all of the sponsors of the Alliance Sim Racing League, AA West Automotive, Quantum Tint Solutions, Team Nicol Photography, and of course 24/7 Sim Services for such an amazing job here tonight of race control. And of course a very special shout out to both Tim Nicol for the huge number of laps he managed to get into the safety car this evening, And also to our usual co-commentator, Josh Harris, who I'm sure is enjoying what's left of his time in Bali and will be back with us next week. Lucas Sott, it's been a pleasure having you along with us. We do hope to tap you on the shoulder again, perhaps later in the season, to get back in the booth, eh?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Lock in,
Awesome cast as always.
Lock in the 12th of August, mate. We'll bring you back for your home race at the Bend, hey? A very, very good night of racing. Thank you all at home for watching along. We will be back, of course, next week. Until then, though, it is goodbye for now.
Thanks, everyone.